Well, while I was here, I went ahead and took the gauge cluster. Why is this not focusing? Is that focus? Oh, it's just so dirty it doesn't look focused. So yeah, that's the intent. This all needs to be cleaned. Figure out why this gauge isn't working. I know the printed circuit boards on the back go bad on these. It's just a fine ribbon like this stuff. It looks like a snakeskin. Crazy. So I'll check that first. Well, maybe not first. Maybe I'll check the fuel sending unit. We'll see. Either way, I'm going to take this out. It's got to be cleaned. Crazy now. I took the whole dash pad out. I think the original speaker. The original glass windshield has an antenna in it. The antenna comes up the middle, and that's all. The solar ray glass, I think, deteriorates. It pools up down the bottom. Am I making that up? I don't know. I'm just trying to get this cluster out now. So I can... The speedometer cable is holding it up. Anybody's got to do this. Get that speedometer cable. And, yeah, I just want to see that printed circuit board on the back, see if it's still good. Check that out. It appears to be alright. It's all little, got an ohm meter on it. Check the resistance. See this thing? This is a metal line going to the engine for the oil pressure. Somebody cut it years ago. So this in '74 didn't have an electronic oil pressure gauge. They had a manual that would pump oil right up to this gauge in the car. How safe is that? But yeah, I'll have to do some other diagnosing on the gas gauge not working. Look at that original label there. It might have fallen off the cluster actually. Sometimes the build sheets are in here over, well, I don't see. Some guy said his fell off the dash. But I'm sure this thing's been around the block, so the build sheet's probably gone. But I'll keep looking. Got rid of some extra weight. I'll gain probably at least 7 horsepower. Alright, tore into these gauges today. Cleaning them all out. My good friend was able to polish this lens. It came out damn near perfect. He's good with detailing. I was too afraid to scratch it, but as you can see, yeah, it's a little tinge of probably nicotine. Actually, it's not. I don't know. Whatever. It's probably just in the plastic solar damage. Testing out the clock. It's gonna open circuit. And it looks like this is bad. The transformer. I don't know what that is. My other gauges, not really worried about, is my fuel gauge. And there is a resistor on the back here. I have 82 ohms. I want to make sure that works. If that's in spec. But if you do a full sweep with a ohm meter, it stays the same. 145 ohms, doesn't change. So I may have a bad gauge and not the sending unit. That's about it. But the rest of the cluster stuff here, wood paneling, it's in rough shape. Might just clean up the wood and paint. This used to be black. See how it's silver underneath all the gauges. Maybe I'll do black again. I don't know, just an idea. Otherwise, let's get a whole new one of these. We'll see. But it's just cleaning up day. I want to get that gas gauge diagnosed because that's very important. I think it just stopped. I thought I had this clock going again. Gave it a little oil. So the mechanical part of it, they get dry and dusty. And there's the electrical part. From what I read, the electric just repowers when it mechanically stops. Somehow it knows. I don't know. I got to read up on that. And then the oil pressure gauge is mechanical. I gave that some lube. And I'm going to see if that works because I had an external one. But it's probably okay. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, I got it going again. And I think what it is right... Get you a little pointer. These little contacts right here, 1 and 2, as this mechanically winds down, this contact comes down to here, and that's when the electricity opens that up again. So it's basically recharging the mechanical, because you can't go in there and wind it yourself like you would a grandfather clock. So it gives it a little electrical pulse, and I think that opens it up again. Something like that. So, yeah, you can see this was all the way at the top a second ago, so it's coming down. But I think my electrical's bad as well, but maybe I can get that motor going. Then I'll have a clock that works. That'd be pretty cool. Factory clock. So after I got a temp sender for the engine, the gauge is still pegged. And that was after the initial grounding the terminal test. So there is a resistor that goes between the two here. It's a 90 ohm resistor that all GM gauges have this era. And it is open. So it's a bad resistor. I really can't find these. I think I found one for the price of a whole gauge. So, if Radio Shack still existed, you could probably buy a 90 ohm resistor and put it between the two. But we'll see what I do. Mike, what are you doing? Well, back on this clock. Because this is easy fix, I'm telling you. Never mind the broken plastic. This is the part I told you that sits in there that fails. And all it is an armature, basically. It's a spool of copper wire, which I pulled off. You'll see. I think you saw what it looked like before. This is just wound, it's about 3 feet, I would say, of wound copper wire. And that's how you create a magnetic field, right? Which energizes this and makes the electrical pulse that drives the mechanical clock. So I saw somebody on a Cessna airplane forum, because they use these clocks too. I forget the name of the clock, but he just rewound the wire, some copper wire, this gauge, whatever that is, rewound it and hooked it up, and it started working. It's that simple, folks. I think, is this like phone line gauge? That's a good point. Or I could just take some copper wire out of a basic 14 gauge strand. And like I said, it's about 3 feet. Let's see. This is a standard table. And it goes down to, yeah, it's probably 3 feet. And I think I can just put it on a drill, like you're making a spring. Put it on a drill, zzz, wind it tight maybe. Or just wind it by hand. I gotta clean this copper up a little bit. You can see it's all green and tarnished. But, hey man, why not try, right?